Teachers are on the front lines of a battle to change how teens use social media. A high school English class may not sound the typical forum for educating kids on the risks of social media, but that hasn't stopped Jennifer Rosenwick. Each school year, the 10th graders in a class at Scarsdale High School in New York watch The Social Dilemma, a 2020 documentary about the harms of social media. She also teaches her students about how companies can manipulate algorithms to make platforms addictive and is part of the school's leadership team that hosts related social media training sections for teachers and parents. Rosenwick argues that subject is so important that it should be discussed in all courses. It's really important to give students lots of opportunities to talk about, think about, write about how social media affects their lives, she said. They just happen to be born in a really complicated, overstimulating and demanding time, and we handed them these devices without knowing what effects they would have. Rosenwick is one of a growing number of educators who find themselves on the front lines of a fight to change how students use social media, both in schools and at home, after raising concerns about the impact these services can have on the mental health of teens. And recently, there's been a push for more schools to effectively follow the example and develop programs to help educate students on the dangers of social media. As part of U.S. Surgeon General Violet Murthy's watershed, report last month on the profound risk of social media for teens, he recommended policymakers push for digital and media literacy curricula in schools that help students recognize, manage, and recover from online risks such as harassment, abuse, and excessive social media use. It's kind of long actually, but I will continue reading anyway. Other politicians have suggested the same. Last month, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis signed an education bill that prohibits students from accessing certain social media platforms on school Wi-Fi and requires instruction on the negative impacts of social media. These efforts come amid heightened bipartisan pressure from lawmakers for social media companies to do more to protect their youngest users, but in the absence of any new federal legislation, the burden falls on parents and schools, the latter of which faces significant challenges to address the issue. Schools must grapple with limited resources, students who develop online habits at a very young age, and staff who may not be well versed to discuss the ins and outs of algorithmic rabbit holes and cyberbullying. The push for digital literacy. At the Rosemont School in Evanston, Illinois, conversations around the impact of social media are happening in the classroom on a daily basis, according to Chris English, the head of school. Teachers openly remind students how their social media history lives on and how it can be perceived among colleagues and employers, English said. Teachers also discussed how dopamine plays a role in why teens feel the need to keep checking platforms, as well as general best practices. We're always thinking about the social-emotional learning component and how it applies to social media use, said English, referring to teaching kids skills to manage their feelings and relationships. As with others educational As with other education efforts, however, he believes social media literacy campaigns are much easier to do when class sizes in school are lower, allowing teachers to put more significant time and energy into each student. The Rosemont School is one of hundreds of schools across the U.S. leaning on programs such as the Organization for Social Media Safety to provide digital literacy assemblies to students. The organization offers practical steps to address the varying dangers they may encounter on social media, from bullying and hate to trafficking and pressure sexting, as well as how algorithms can push problematic content to young users. The program is part of the DARE Drug Abuse Resistance Education curriculum. It's kind of very long, so I think that I will just continue reading tomorrow. Now I need to head over to watch the movie. Our family is planning to watch the movie together, but I literally forgot to record a video. So yeah, I think that's it.